Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Bilchen.
I'm Nimicum.
I'm Ven Chan.
In this class, I'll read all of you a part of Moby-dick was the whale.
S.
L.
Moby-dick or the whale. Herman Melville. And Lord, said I, going after him is Cull Esmond. Heckle in a snowstorm or landlord. Stop whittling. You and I must understand one another, and that too without delay. I come to your house and want a bed. You tell me you can only give me half o one. That the other half belongs to a certain harpooner. And about this harpooner, whom I have not yet seen, you persist in telling me the most mystifying and exasperating stories tending to begatten me an uncomfortable feeling towards the man whom you designed for my bedfellow, a sort of connection, and Lord, which is an intimate and confidential one in the highest degree. I now demand of you to speak out and tell me who and what this harpooner is, and whether I shall be in all respects safe to spend the night with him. And in the first place, you will be so good as to unsay that story about selling his head, which if true I take to be good evidence that this harpooner is stark mad, and I've no idea of sleeping with a madman. And you, you I mean, and Lord, you, by trying to induce me to do so knowingly, would thereby render yourself liable to a criminal prosecution. Well, said the landlord, fetching a long breath, that's a pretty long sermon for a chap that perhaps a little now and then. But be easy. Be easy. This here harpooner I have been telling you of has just arrived from the south, since where he bought up a lot of bound New Zealand heads great curios. You know. And he sold a London but one. And that one he's trying to sell tonight cost tomorrow's Sunday. And it would not do to be selling human heads about the streets when folks is going to churches. He wanted to last Sunday, but I stopped him just as he was going out of the door with 4 heads strung on a string, for all the earth like a string of onions. This account cleared up the otherwise unaccountable mystery, and showed that the landlord, after all, had no idea of filling me, but at the same time what could I think of a harpooner who stayed out of a Saturday night clean into the Holy Sabbath, engaged in such a cannibal business as selling the heads of dead idolaters? Depend upon it, and Lord, that harpooner is a dangerous man. He pays regular, was the rejoinder. But come, it's getting dreadful late. You'd had better be turning, Flux, it's a nice bed. Sal and me slept in that bed the night we was placed. There's plenty of room for 2 to kick about in that bed. It's an almighty big bed, that. Why, afore we give it up, Sal used to put our Sam and little Johnny in the foot of it. But I got a dreaming and sprawling about one night. And somehow, Sen got pitched on the floor and came near breaking his arm. Arter that. So said it wouldn't do. Come along here. I'll give you a glim in a jiffy, and so saying he lighted a candle and held it towards me, offering to lead the way. But I stood irresolute. While looking at a clock in the corner, he exclaimed, "I've a Mitsunday, I won't see that harpooner tonight. He's come to anchor, so Miri, come along then. Do you come? Where'd you come?" I considered the matter a moment, and then upstairs we went, and I was ushered into a small room, cold as a clam, and furnished, sure enough, with a prodigious bed, almost big enough indeed for any 4 harpooners to sleep abreast. "There," said the landlord, placing the candle on a crazy old sea chest that did double duty as a washstand and centre table. "There. Make yourself comfortable now. And good night to ye." I turned round from eyeing the bed, but he had disappeared. Folding back the counterpane, I stooped over the bed. Though none of the most elegant, it yet stood the scrutiny tolerably well. I then glanced round the room, and besides the bedstead and centre table, could see no other furniture belonging to the place but a rude shelf, the 4 walls, and a papered fireboard representing a man striking a whale. Of things not properly belonging to the room, there was a hammock lashed up and thrown upon the floor in one corner. Also a large seaman's bag containing the harpooner's wardrobe, no doubt in lieu of a land trunk. Likewise, there was a parcel of outlandish bone fishhooks on the shelf over the fireplace, and a tall harpoon standing at the head of the bed. But what is this on the chest? I took it up and held it close to the light, and felt it, and smelt it, and tried every way possible to arrive at some satisfactory conclusion concerning it. I can compare it to nothing but a large doormat, ornamented at the edges with little tinkling text something like "The stain porcupine goes round," an Indian moccasin. There was a hole or slit in the middle of this mat, as you see the same in South American ponchos. But could it be possible that any silver harpooner would get into a doormat and parade the streets of any Christian town in that sort of guise? I put it on to try it, and it weighed me down like a hamper, being uncommonly shaggy and thick, and I thought a little damped, as though this mysterious harpooner had been wearing it of a rainy day. I went up in it a bit of glass stuck against the wall, and I never saw such a sight in my life. I tore myself out of it in such a hurry that I gave myself a kink in the neck. I sat down on the side of the bed and commenced thinking about this head-piddling harpooner, and his doormat. After thinking some time on the bedside, I got up and took off my monkey jacket, and then stood in the middle of the room thinking. I then took off my coat and thought a little more in my shirt sleeves, but beginning to feel very cold now, half undressed as I was, and remembering what the landlord said about the harpooners not coming home at all that night, it being so very late, I made no more ado, but jumped out of my pantaloons and boots, and then blowing out the light tumbled into bed, and commended myself to the care of heaven. Whether that mattress was stuffed with corn cobs or broken crockery, there is no telling, but I rolled about a good deal, and could not sleep for a long time. At last I slid off into a light doze, and had pretty nearly made a good offing towards the land of Aloud, when I heard a heavy footfall in the passage, and saw a glimmer of light come into the room from under the door. Lord save me, thinks I. That must be the harpooner, the infernal head peddler. But I lay perfectly still, and resolved not to say a word till spoken to. Holding a light in one hand, and that identical New Zealand head in the other, the stranger entered the room, and without looking towards the bed, placed his candle a good way off from me on the floor in one corner, and then began working away at the knotted cords of the large bag I before spoke of as being in the room. I was all eagerness to see his face, but he kept it averted for some time while employed in unlacing the bag's mouth. This accomplished, however, he turned round our hen. Good heavens! What a sight! Such a face! It was of a dark purplish yellow colour, here and there stuck over with large blackish looking squares. Yes, it's just as I thought. He's a terrible bedfellow. He's been in a fight, got dreadfully cut, and he is, just from the surgeon. But at that moment he chanced to turn his face so towards the light that I plainly saw they could not be sticking plasters at all. Those black squares on his cheeks, they were stains of some sort or other. At first I knew not what to make of this, but soon an inkling of the truth occurred to me. I remembered a story of a white man of Wilmington, filling among the cannibals, had been tattooed by them. I concluded that this harpooner, in the course of his distant voyages, must have met with a similar adventure. And what is it? Thought I. After all, it's only his outside. A man can be honest in any sort of skin. But then, what to make of his unearthly complexion? That part of it. I mean, lying round about, and completely independent of the squares of tattooing. To be sure, it might be nothing but a good coat of tropical tanning, but I never heard of a hot sun stunning a white man into a purplish. Illa 1. However, I had never been in the South Seas. To be continued.